Hi, everybody. My name is Mr. Carco, and I am going to be doing a little mini lesson on September 11th and its impact. Today, what we are going to ask you to do is we're going to ask you to take a look at three different videos about September 11th and the attack on America. Following that, you'll do a Google form where you're going to have to explain which one of those videos was the most informative, that you learned the most from, and which of those videos was the most emotional, that maybe didn't have the amount of information that you were looking for, but certainly connected to you in some way. Yes, you can choose the same video to be both, although that probably isn't going to happen in most cases. September 11th, which happened 18 years ago, 19 years ago, in 2001, was an epic, altogether changing time. It parallels to what we're doing right now with COVID. In some ways, it's very similar, and in other ways, it's quite different. Similarly, we weren't necessarily expecting it. Kind of like we knew that there was this pandemic going on in the world, but we weren't necessarily aware of how it could possibly impact the United States. That's similar to what happened in September 11th. There was terrorism and terrorist attacks all over the world, and there was even rumblings that there was going to be one in the United States. But since we never experienced one, we weren't necessarily ready for what happened. That made it impactful. Another similarity is it's going to change the United States. COVID has already changed how we go about our daily lives, and September 11th absolutely did that. You can ask your parents how air travel was different before and after September 11th, how even going to a sports activity was different. Going to the beach, especially large public beaches, changed after September 11th. So many things have changed. So we can already see the parallels between COVID and September 11th. But the one massive difference was how immediate it happened and how much of a shock that it was. For COVID, we knew it was going in the world. Several health officials told us that it was going to eventually reach the shores of the United States. So we were ready for it. And at least we were starting to make preparations for what would happen in this country once it did. But September 11th happened with almost no warning. The warning that we may have had was so convoluted and tough to understand that we didn't even necessarily realize it was a warning until several years after it actually happened. So September 11th became a huge, impactful day. It changed the United States. And that's what history is. It's understanding those events that caused great change. And yes, we're living through one right now. We just have to understand that we didn't understand on September 11th, 2001. We didn't understand on September 12th, 2001. We didn't understand on September 11th, 2011, 10 years later, all of the ways that it changed us. And we don't know how COVID will change us too. That's what history is all about. Unfortunately, we don't know the ending of this movie. We don't even necessarily know the ending of September 11th either. We know how it's changed society, how it changed laws, how it changed travel. So, what we're asking you to do is take a look at these videos on September 11th. But once we're done, we'll have a little bit of a class discussion. And in that class discussion, what we could do is we could start to compare the two events to each other. How is it that COVID has similarities to September 11th? They're both gigantic losses of life, but they're quite different. So after we watch the video, you'll have to complete a Google form. You can only complete that Google form once, and that's what we'll use as the basis for our discussion. Thank you very much.